Tech billionaires and far-left activists are trying to steal the November election. America is falling apart before our very eyes. Thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic, the far left in America has achieved in just a few months what they've dreamed of doing for more than 50 years. Shut down free enterprise all across the country. Suspended civil liberties enshrined in the U.S. Constitution, including the right to freely assemble and the right to worship. Made tens of millions dependent on government handouts for their basic survival. Seized total control of the private health care system, banning most treatments and procedures deemed non-essential. Unleashed mobs of mostly peaceful protesters to burn buildings, tear down monuments to America's founding fathers, attack federal courthouses, and coerce thousands to bend the knee to socialist ideals. And made criticism or dissent effectively illegal by encouraging private companies to fire employees who voice criticism, even in their free time, of government actions or the rioters in the streets. In short, George Orwell himself could not have imagined the totalitarian 1984-like society in which we are all now living. The Wall Street Journal recently said, "The pandemic is a dress rehearsal. Prepare for more chaos and instability. The details about what's already happened and the perfect storm of disasters that is still to come are revealed in the pages of an extraordinary new special report, Strike It Rich in the Coming Meltdown." Strike It Rich in the Coming Meltdown tells the story of how decades of disastrous decisions by weak, self-serving government elites have created catastrophes that will change your life and the lives of those you love forever. And because events are unfolding before our very eyes with lightning speed, I've arranged for you to receive a copy of this emergency special report, free of charge. Inside this private report, famed British geopolitical analyst and author John Brown and his financial brain trust at the renowned Financial Intelligence Report have assembled irrefutable, damning evidence about the upcoming disasters that may lie in our path, and that could wreak havoc with your investments and your entire financial future. A continuing COVID-19 economic shutdown that wipes out more sectors of the U.S. economy and leads to a full-blown Great Depression, and the steps you should take immediately to protect your life savings. Donald Trump's possible loss in the November election as big tech billionaires, the media, and deep state operatives use every trick in the book to take back power, and the market goes into free fall, taking your 401k or other retirement accounts with it. Continuing rioting and looting in many American cities, with the Defund the Police movement, spreading out into suburbs, and with new laws that make it illegal for homeowners to defend themselves when attacked. A further crackdown on free speech and freedom of religion as Democrat-controlled states make it easy for corporations to fire employees who criticize socialist policies in their free time for hate speech violations. Skyrocketing local, state, and federal debt that sends the value of the U.S. dollar into a tailspin, bringing back shortages, rising food prices, and 1970-style stagflation. Escalating tension between communist China and the U.S. that could result in a limited military clash, triggering a global stock crash and sending the price of gold soaring above $3,000 an ounce. To name just a few. Any one of these catastrophes could trigger a further meltdown of our society and your investments unlike anything we've seen in our lifetimes. The combination of two or more could be cataclysmic. As an article in Axios put it, the COVID-19 pandemic, record unemployment, and escalating social unrest are all pushing American society close to the breaking point. Experts who have studied the collapse of civilizations in the past warn that the U.S. is exhibiting symptoms of a society in real existential peril. According to the International Monetary Fund, the global economic collapse caused by coronavirus will be even worse than feared. Writing in The Atlantic, UC Berkeley professor Frank Partnoy insists the U.S. financial system could be on the cusp of a calamity. This time, we might not be able to save it. And if Trump loses in November, all bets are off. It will be time to take cover, protect your wealth, and take advantage of little-known investment opportunities to grow up to 4 times richer. Unlike other disasters, the coming meltdown is not something that will merely impact people in far-away places. No, it will directly affect you and your family personally, your retirement savings, your health care, even potentially your physical safety. Yet, there is also a silver lining to this dark cloud. In the pages of Strike It Rich, in the coming meltdown, you'll discover how you can protect and even grow your wealth faster in these uncertain times, no matter who wins the November election, even as most investors are led once again to the slaughter. Just as legendary investor Joseph Kennedy made several fortunes during the darkest days of the Great Depression, so too savvy investors today are taking advantage of unique opportunities to multiply their wealth several times over. John Brown, the author of Strike It Rich in the Coming Meltdown and contributing editor of the famed Financial Intelligence Report, knows a thing or two about victory in the face of adversity. A former British member of Parliament who has advised world leaders from Margaret Thatcher to Donald Trump, Brown has a knack for spotting developing crisis points and guiding people and governments through them. He and other leading experts at Financial Intelligence Report have predicted critical economic events long before they happen, including predicting that Donald Trump would win the 2016 election when every media outlet in the country said the exact opposite, warning about the real estate crisis of 2008-2009, a year and a half before it happened, encouraging investors to buy when the Dow crashed to a low of 6,443 in 2009, a 54% drop from its recent high of 14,164, and ride what turned out to be an 11-year bull market. Sounding the alarm in 1996 and 1997 about a coming liquidity crisis that was being exacerbated by significant interest rate hikes from the Fed. Announcing in 1994 that oil, then at $25 a barrel, would skyrocket to over $50 a barrel in 18 months and eventually exceed $100 a barrel, and many, many more. And now, John Brown and his Financial Intelligence Report, Brain Trust, are coming together once again to issue their most significant predictions and warnings yet. That's why I want to send you a free copy of Strike It Rich in the Coming Meltdown as soon as possible. It's a complete guide to surviving and thriving in a world gone mad. Your free copy of Strike It Rich in the Coming Meltdown reveals how you can protect your family from political and civil liberty risks if Donald Trump loses the election, and radical leftists in the government raise taxes sky high for the middle class, propose steep cuts in Social Security and Medicare for the wealthy, and enact new rules for retirement accounts that limit your future withdrawals. Health risks like we haven't seen in a century, with the possibility of newer, even deadlier pandemics increasingly likely. Financial risks we haven't seen since the Great Depression, with the possibility of a global debt crisis, stock market wipeout, and banking collapse now openly discussed. Risks to property and personal safety from urban crime and mobs, with the New York Times cataloging so-called peaceful protests erupting in 2,000 American cities and all 50 states. Food supply risks as increasing supply chain disruptions and shortages drive prices to levels not seen since World War II. Risks of armed conflict with China in the South China Sea, which could trigger a collapse of the U.S. dollar and the return of hyperinflation. Each of these looming catastrophes carries with it unique dangers, but also unique opportunities. How to survive the great economic crisis in your lifetime. The good news is if you take the simple steps revealed in Strike It Rich in the Coming Meltdown, you'll probably be able to save yourself and your family from the worst economic meltdown in more than 100 years. In your free copy of Strike It Rich in the coming meltdown, you'll discover how you can turn the greatest economic crisis since the Great Depression into huge money-making opportunities, even if Democrats succeed in unseating President Trump in November. We've just added more than a dozen coming meltdown stocks to our watch list for 2020 and tell you all about them in your free copy of Strike It Rich in the coming meltdown. Every one of these stocks is a potential money-making machine with outstanding fundamentals, practically no debt, superior management, and products that the world desperately needs and wants, even when they have to buy them online. Plus, thanks to the recent sell-off, some of these stocks are still selling at a hefty discount from their highs, and many now pay dividends many investors haven't seen in years, well over 4%, and sometimes even 6%. To get your free copy, click on the button below now.